looks like it's going to be a really beautiful Shabbat. And it's our privilege to extend a special welcome to the members of the Rodef Shalom Legacy Society. We'll be having a little bit more on that as we proceed through the service. Molly is playing Ki Eshmeira Shabbat on page 11.
Ki Eshmeira Shabbat El Yishmereni Oti Le'ol Me'at Beno U'Beni Ki Eshmeira Shabbat El Yishmereni Oti Le'ol Me'at Beno U'Beni
It's our privilege to invite Maida Roth, our development director, to light candles, page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahavlifnei shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom, amen. Amen, Shabbat Shalom. We continue now welcoming the Shabbat messengers of peace with Shalom Aleichem on page 24.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Baruchuni leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la.
Turn back to Psalm 96 on page 13. This is the second paragraph, the bottom of the page. Yismechu Hashamayim.
ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירם הים ומלואו. ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירם הים ומלואו. יממי ממי יממי ממי יממי ממי יממי ממי ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירם הים ומלואו. ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירם הים ומלואו. יממי ממי יממי ממי יממי ממי יממי ממי
The end of Psalm 29 on page 19, the last two lines. Adonai Oz, that will yitain God, give strength to our people.
Adonai Oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yevarech et amo. Adonai Oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yevarech et amo.
Turning the page, Lachado D, we welcome in the Shabbat presence with paragraphs 1, 2, 5, and 9. And we get to the 9th one, we turn to welcome Shabbat through that doorway. And we rise for that. We don't have to rise yet.
Ay, 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 לקראת אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשימו לתפארת ולתהילה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי איי לקראת כלה, איי 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 פני שבת, איי 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 נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה בראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 פני שבת, איי 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 נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 פני שבת, איי 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 נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 פני שבת, איי 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 נקבלה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 פני שבת, איי 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 נקבלה.
Please take a moment to greet one another, wish one another Shabbat Shalom.
Is that what happened? Did something break? Something did break.
Yeah, just this. But I mean,
No.
I can't reattach it now. Okay. I can reattach it some other time. Tonight is not that night. Do you have it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Just course.
I know, you can change a couple of them, sort of.
Just play what's on the page and I'll catch up to you.
Page 22, Psalm for Shabbat, Magad Lu. It's 4 lines from the indentation. We're going to skip ahead to the second service, so please turn to page 145 for Chetzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה וילמד יברכותי וימליך מלכותי בחיי כל יום אחד ובחיי תכל בישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולם מעלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשו יריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן.
Please rise as you are able and body your spirit for Baruch.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chochma poteach she'arim uvitvuna mishana itim u'mechalif et hazmanim u'misader et hakochavim u'mishmarotehem barakia kirtzono v'rayom v'layla kolel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or ma'avir yom u'mevi layla u'mavdil ben yom u'ben layla Adonai Tzvaot Shemo. Elchai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגי יומם בלילה נגי יומם בלילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל אוהב עמו ישראל שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד ברוך שכבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
You may be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha ubechol nafshecha ubechol me'odecha vehayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
So today is either, right now, since, well, at the beginning of Shabbat, it's either not Passover anymore for you if you celebrate 7 days. If you celebrate 8th day, then it's the beginning of the 8th day. In any case, this morning at services for the 7th day, we heard the Song of the Sea, which includes the Micha Mocha on page 152. It's our song of rejoicing, our song of freedom. I'd like to remember, though, that we rejoiced for our freedom from Pharaoh, from tyranny, from enslavement, freedom to accept Torah at Mount Sinai. And really, the journey is just beginning. We still have muddy feet. So if it feels a little sluggy, it's because we just are getting going. But we sing the song of celebration in any case because we celebrate our joys. We celebrate our freedom to receive Torah in 46 days. Or not quite. I'm really bad at arithmetic. 49 minus 6. 43 days.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אליהם. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף לפני משה ומרים זה אלי אנו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד who is like you אדוני who is like you who is like you who is like you Adonai ונאמר כי פדרנו את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גל ישראל.
context of this prayer, which we ask God to spread over us, Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace. We ask God to guard us as we go out and we come in. We think of those who are in need of healing in the Shabbat. We hold in our hearts for Fuash Lema, healing of body, healing of spirit. Ira Altshuler, Ann Barber, Howard Bregman, Kathleen Bond, Fern Diamond, Phyllis Didion, Ann Fay, Judy Forrest, Ken Franklin, Piers Haggard, David Mordecai HaKohen, Linda Jube, Naum Kaplan, Carol Kaufman, Sylvia Kasparowski, Al Camper, Lee Kramer, Albert Lepre, Tim Littman, Susan Lother, Hindasara Batkana Pearl, Sophie Matiash, Joanne Mandel, Jonathan Miller, Edward Mims, Joanne Newman, Sanford Oaks, Till Oster, Lev Podorovsky, Naftali Ben Riva, Helen Faye Rosenblum, Mike Rosen, Adam Schusterman, Neil Smaller, John Spear, Bill Stein, Jan Stoller, Jackie Student. Other names for Misha Berach tonight? Barach Avotenu v'Imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarech v'Rapeh et Hacholi. God, the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all those who are.
Baruch atah Adonai haborei sukkot shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haborei sukkot shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. A celebration of Shabbat, Vishamru, on page 154. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, עוד היא לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, עוד היא לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת. השביעי, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Please rise and body your spirit as you're able for the tefillah, which begins on page 273, 155.
Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi agir tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips and my mouth will declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו בשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלוך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, למען אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. On page 160, read together in the middle of the page. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who are hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfills its promise. Baruch atah Adonai b'kadesh ha-Shabbat. Be gracious, Adonai, our God, to your people Israel, and receive our prayers with love. Or may our worship always be acceptable to you. Fill us with the knowledge you are near to all who seek you in truth. Let our eyes behold your presence in our midst and in the midst of our people in Zion. Blessed is Adonai, whose presence renews Zion. As we approach the prayer for gratitude, Hoda'ah, we say Modim Anachnu Lach, and we thank God for our lives, for our very lives, for all the things that we have in our lives. And with our hearts full of gratitude, just like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank the members of the Rodef Shalom Legacy Society for your dedication to this congregation. It's really an honor to be able to honor you and to thank you. Your gifts to Rodef Shalom are important more than ever, and your commitment to this congregation is priceless. Your planned gift links you and the thousands before you to our 22 charter members who never could have imagined the impact of this type of faithfulness 165 years ago. You are carrying on that incredible legacy, and that's why it's called the Legacy Society. On behalf of our Board of Trustees and the members of this congregation, I thank you. It really it makes me think about the faithfulness is the word that comes to my mind, and trust, that you are willing to entrust your treasure for our future. So even as we address our ultimate prayer of gratitude to God in just a moment, we are grateful, so very grateful, to the members of the Rodef Shalom Legacy Society, whose generosity and forethought allow us and will continue to allow our children and our grandchildren to thrive as progressive Jews in this extraordinary building amidst even more extraordinary members. Thank you. We'll read together on the top of page 163. For the good in us which calls us to a better life, we give thanks. For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise. For the desire in us which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful. For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise to the source of being.
In the middle of the paragraph, V'chol hachayim yoducha selah. V'chol hachayim yoducha selah. Selah, selah, selah. V'chol hachayim yoducha selah. Selah, selah, selah. את שמך באמת, האל ישועתנו ועזרתנו. סלה, סלה, סלה. סלה, סלה, סלה. סלה, סלה, סלה. וכל החיים יודוך סלה, 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 סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך ולך נאה להודות. סלה, סלה, סלה. סלה, סלה, סלה. סלה, סלה, סלה.
For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, v'cha na'eh v'hodot. Shalom Rav, big, abundant peace we pray for. On page 164, we follow Shalom Rav with our own silent prayer.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam, ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom, ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, עמך תשים לעולם שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם תשים לעולם תשים לעולם.
Baruch Adonai mevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Praise you, Adonai, who blesses your people with peace. Continue sadly. I'd like to share a few words with you tonight about the counting of the Oma Ritual that we'll practice in just a few moments. So I have something like 55,000 emails in my inbox, and I have a lot of files in my computer that are just in random places. And the other day, I happened to open one that said Passover Yizkor 5762. It's 20 years ago. So I opened it up. What did I have to say 20 years ago? I was kind of interested. There was a blank page, but there were 2 lines of a poem, a Walt Whitman poem on the page. And this is all it was. Give me the splendid silent sun with all his beams full dazzling. I can't tell you the last time I even thought of Walt Whitman, let alone read a poem. I just haven't. So I was really curious what I might have meant when I put those lines in there for a Yizkor poem. a Yizkor sermon. Give me the splendid silent sun with all his beams full dazzling. So I don't really have any idea of what I meant 20 years ago. So I thought, well, it might be interesting to sit with them for a few minutes and see where they take me. So where they took me was the practice of counting the Omer. The practice of counting the Omer allowed each of the 49 days between Pesach and Shavuot. That practice is called counting the Omer. For our ancestors, this was an agricultural rite. Every night for 7 weeks, they would go into the fields and wave a sheaf of barley to give thanks to the land and pray for a good harvest. Over time, prayers, liturgy replaced the agricultural ritual, and the counting became the way to mark the Israelites' journey from bondage in Egypt to revelation at Sinai. So we count the days from Passover, from liberation, to Shavuot, to the revelation. And in a lot of ways, Passover is not over until we get to Mount Sinai, because we did ask to be let go to worship God. It wasn't just let my people go, it was let my people go to worship God in the wilderness. So we really have that, 49s that connects the two holidays. A bonus of the counting practice is the opportunity to focus on one day at a time. When we count, we get an opportunity to think about what is unique and precious about this one day. Rabbi Yael Levy in Philadelphia offers a range of ways to understand and practice the counting of the Omer. These are among her teachings, just a few to share with you. She says one of the things that we can learn from this practice is everything, or not learn, but remember or focus on. Everything passes. She writes, standing each night to count the Omer can remind us repeatedly every day that everything passes. All things pass. Everything changes. Counting the Omer, counting the coming day, so counting for tomorrow, reminds us that for better and worse, this day will be gone forever by the next sunset. At the same time, as we understand that all things pass, she writes, it's about letting go of what has been. Counting the day that we are entering requires that we let go of what has been. So this day is over, we're looking to the next day. And we can honor what has happened while appreciating that it's okay to let it go, and something new will appear. So some of us have a tendency to hold on to things. This is an opportunity to us for let go a little bit. Something new will appear. The third thing, being in the moment. The tradition teaches us that we are not to say the day that is to come until we say the blessing and are ready to count the day. So in a few moments, I'll remind you that today was the 6th day, and you need to make that leap to the next day. Right? So we're focused on the 6th day. Tell me nod if you understand. We're focused on the 6th day until we get to the 7th day. When we get to the 7th day, we're all about the 7th day. We're on the 6th day, we're all about the 6th day. So it really teaches us to be present in the moment and not try to predict or control what will happen. The next practice she lists is cultivating gratitude. Counting the Omer each night provides an opportunity to look back on the day that has been and give thanks for something we discovered or experienced. A lot of us might have a gratitude practice where we think about this day and list a couple things that we're grateful for. This is another way to just focus in, to zero in on this day. Connection. As we count each night, we might remind ourselves that many, many people around the world are also counting the same new day. Counting can strengthen our sense of connection and relationship with each other. And finally, something to count on. She says, as everything passes and changing, counting each night offers strength and stability. This 49-day practice literally gives us something to count on. We're going to do it tonight. So, why did I connect the lines from Walt Whitman poem about the sun to the Omer practice? The Omer practice helps us notice and appreciate details from the day. Sometimes this is as simple as noticing the splendid, silent sun with all its beams full dazzling. And today was a beautiful day. Last week, I wrote a Passover greeting to the congregation, which for logistical reasons never was sent. That snafu allowed me some additional time to think about the message, in which I encouraged Seder participants to be sure to read the last words of the Haggadah next year in Jerusalem, regardless of what else you did or didn't do after your meal. So even if you have a practice of doing a lot before the meal and then kind of quickly finishing off the Seder, which a few of us do, I encouraged you to say, or I meant to encourage you to say, next year in Jerusalem. Saying next year in Jerusalem does not mean that we expect to be in Jerusalem next year. It's not a geographical statement. Although for some of us, that might be a dream worth pursuing. Rather, next year in Jerusalem is a prayer. That's what I wrote. Next year in Jerusalem is a prayer, and this is what I said. Next year in Jerusalem is a prayer that our lives next year, and those of our neighbors and those of strangers we will never meet, will be better than they are this year. Next year in Jerusalem means that with wisdom and vision, anything is possible. A week later, I still like the idea that next year in Jerusalem is a prayer. But I think it skips something important. When we think about next year in Jerusalem, or next year at all, we fail to acknowledge all the days that will happen on the way to next year. How can we ensure that next year will be better? Can't just jump to next year in Jerusalem, right? But only by making it better. With each of our steps that are going to happen in this year, on each of these days, we move towards justice. When with each of our steps, we move toward better understanding, or compassion, or gratitude. When with each of our steps, we take a chance. Maybe we learn something new on one of those days. We meet someone new. We comprehend some new truth. Then, when we do that, then next year will be better. So I think it is important to say next year will be better, but I think it's important to remember all the days, each unique day that we have to work towards making it better. Counting the Omer means making each day count, and adding up the days means that anything is, in fact, possible. So I invite you to turn with me to the counting of the Omer, page 278. The counting of the Omer is a mitzvah. So we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat hayomer. Hayom Shiva Yamim Sheham Shavua Echad LaOmer. Today is 7 days, which is 1 week of the Omer. I hope you have a good 7th day of the Omer and that you use it well. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Continue now in our prayer books on page 282 with Aleinu. Please rise as you're able in body or spirit.
עלינו לשבח אדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, כגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, באמת מלכינו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום, והשיבות בלבבך. כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Kaddish is on page 294. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and all those whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those that died in the last 30 days. James Jimmy Goldman, Dr. Jerome Hantman, Janet Kreisman, Agnes Roche, and Summer Obernower. We also remember those whose yahrzeit fall during this week, whose yahrzeit we observe on the Shabbat: Pauline S. Americas, Merle Berger, Jules Cutler, Bella Feldman, Hyman Friedman, Morris Fruman, Betty M. Goldblum, Jerry Goldman, Les Hafner, John S. Hast, Leo Horn, Michael Kaplan, Harry Karsh, Jack Lundy, Jenny Millen, Frederick M. Oringer, Emil S. Rogal, Ruben Saknoff, Martin Scheffler, Leonard J. Singer, Robert Charles Solomon, Leon Wertheimer. Other names for Kaddish tonight? Zichronam livracha, may all their memories be for blessing. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Bi'alma divrachu te v'yamlich malchute. B'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. B'gala v'izman kari v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehei
Shmei
shmei
Rabba
rabbah
mevarach
me'olam
le'alam
olmei
u'lamei
olmaya.
olmaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasa. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha baruch.
Barichu.
Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tishbachata v'nechamata. Tamiran bi'alma v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav. Huya aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen.
Amen.
You may be seated.
Oseh shalom bimromav.
Our closing song will be on page 330, Ki Eshmera Shabbat, but a different tune than we began the service with. I'd like to thank everyone who helped on tonight's service. Luke, I forgot you this morning, so I'm sorry. Luke, up there, the sound and lights makes everything happen. Don, thank you, Don, and thank you to Molly. Maida, where'd she go? Where'd she go? Well, thank you to Maida. Thank you to Maida for getting you here, but also for all of her hard work. Thank you so much to the members of the Legacy Society for your faithfulness and your commitment. We'll have services again tomorrow morning in Torah study, 9 o'clock for Torah study, and services at 10 o'clock. Anything I'm forgetting? I don't think so. Our closing song, as I said, is Ki Eshmera Shabbat on page 330.
Ki eshmera Shabbat el yishmereni. Ki eshmera Shabbat el yishmereni. Oti le'ol me'ad benu vini. Oti le'ol me'ad benu vini. Ki eshmera Shabbat el yishmereni. Ki eshmera Shabbat el yishmereni.
Kiddush is on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדיש השבת. It's still Passover-ish in respect to those for whom it is still Passover. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Shabbat Shalom.